everyone, and welcome back. So in all honesty, the thing that started this video and this video idea was that I have been missing Korean food maliciously like crazy so much lately. I'm missing it for every meal. I miss it so much. I've been craving it, and it got me thinking like, oh, you know what I also miss? The subway. Oh my god, like I hate taking the subway in Philadelphia. So then I was being resentful and thinking of all the things that I miss. So that leads us into the top 10 things that I miss about Korea. For any of my new subscribers or anyone that isn't subscribed so you don't really know me, my name's Rachel and I studied abroad in Seoul, South Korea last year, and I've been going back to visit my boyfriend Andy. We're currently in a long distance relationship, so that's my background and my relationship with Seoul and South Korea. And this list of top 10 things does, because my frame of reference is Seoul, so some of these things might not necessarily apply to the whole of Korea. But with that being said, some of these things do kind of only apply to where I was living and what I was doing in Seoul, and some of them are just like countrywide. So without further ado, let's get into the top 10 things that I really miss about living in Seoul, South Korea. Number one, I couldn't just not put this on my list. Number one automatically goes to Andy, my boyfriend, who I only get to see every 6 months. So the number one spot just goes to him because he's in Korea and I miss him the most every day, all the time. So that's just reserved. The holy number one spot just goes solely to him. But number two, if you couldn't tell, is the food. I miss those flavors so much. I became such like a spiceaholic after I came back. I make kimchi soup probably twice a week, and then I just weep into the soup because it's not as good as it is when it's in Korea, but I'm trying my best, but it's still not as delicious. Give me the spice. I miss kimchi. I need kimchi soup. Also, Korea has this huge soup culture, which I'm such a fan of. I am so here for soup. I could eat soup for every single meal if I wanted to, and that's like a Korean thing. Like, you have soup for breakfast sometimes. Soup culture is real and it's out there, and I miss it. Their ramen culture is just like, America cannot even crack the surface of the glacier of ramen culture that is anywhere in Asia, let alone Korea. But other than that, I just miss all the flavors and all the different things that I wasn't eating normally, and just I became such a spice person, and it's just soup culture, and I miss the food so much. My second thing is that I really miss cafe culture in Korea, because not only do I love tea and coffee and cake and everything that they sell, but almost every cafe I went to was also like a really nice, like spacious study space, or just like some place where you can hang out with friends and like speak quietly to each other. I never studied in my dorm when I was living in Korea. I always went to a cafe to study because they have the coffee and they have like the atmosphere music playing in the background, and it's like peaceful and nice. But it's just like, I miss all of the different franchises. I miss having more than one franchise option other than Starbucks. I just really miss having a really cute cafe to go to where I can just sit down and do my work, and it's peaceful and there's enough seats for everyone, sometimes usually. And I really love cafes, and I really miss that. Number four kind of goes with cafe culture. It's like a nice little segue, if you will, and that is just general youth culture in Seoul. Because I went to Ewha Women's University, which is like here, and then Yonsei is here, and then there was, I forget the third university, but I was basically living in a town where like the majority of the population seemed to be between 18 and 26, like all of the time. And it was just so much worse at night. It was just nothing but young people. But I loved that because there was arcades and there was drinking and everyone around you was your age, and there was just such a sense of solidarity. And then like you go to Hongdae and it's all these like really trendy like clothing boutiques and like music, and there's people doing performances. Youth culture is just like so super cool and so alive in Seoul, and I miss that. Number five is the cityscape, because Korea is basically, there's no flat land anywhere. Everything has a mountain, and I just absolutely loved seeing the new modern buildings in the cities accented with the mountains in the background, and I loved seeing very, very new construction next to very old construction. Even some new construction is built in like more traditional Hanok styles, and I am so fascinated by anything that mixes new and old, and I love architecture. The architecture in Seoul, in Korea, is beautiful, and so many buildings integrated green features. Like, there were tons of buildings with like rooftop trees and like gardens and stuff, and there was vines growing up things, and there were parks everywhere, and it's just so refreshing to be in a city where you see skyscrapers and you see mountain. It's absolutely beautiful, the mix of city and mountain and landscape. It's just breathtaking. Number 6 is the subway / public transportation in general, because the Korean subway, even though it gets really crowded, it's so clean and it's so efficient and it comes so regularly and so often, and it's just well lit. And the subway in Philadelphia, you can just look down and oops, there goes a rat, and everything's really dark, and when it rains you see the water running down the concrete wall and it looks like you're about to enter a horror movie. And another thing with public transportation is that it just made everything so much more accessible, and I always felt safe using it. And that brings me into my next point, which is safety. I live in Philadelphia, and more than that, I live in North Philadelphia, which is not a safe place to live in. It's very dangerous to be out at night when you're a girl, and I miss being able to walk home with one other female friend and like feel totally safe. And of course, Korea and Seoul still has crime, but it's just not to the degree of the city I'm from and the mind frame and mindset that I'm used to. So I really just miss not being constantly on guard, just not having that constant fear, and being able to kind of trust the culture to not be like that was so refreshing. And of course I miss feeling safe. Number 8 is Wi-Fi, because Korea has the fastest Wi-Fi in the world. Last time I checked, that might have changed, but as of like a few months ago, Korea has the #1 Wi-Fi system in the world. And even when Andy visited me here, he was like, your Wi-Fi sucks. Like, American Wi-Fi is horrible. And I was like, you got that right. I hate this. It was available everywhere, no matter where you went. Like, grocery stores had to sign up like, oh, our Wi-Fi. And it was just so fast and so ready to work on your phone. And it was always there for you. Sometimes when no one else was, you could always rely on the Wi-Fi, unless you were out of data, which might happen to some foreign students. Always check and make sure you have enough data. Number 9 is skincare culture. Women and even men are always like hydrating and taking care of their skin, and then they have the 10-step system, and they age beautifully, and it's just all about preserving yourself. And I love the whole theory and metaphor of just preserving something about yourself and keeping it as nice as you can. And it's it really is, it's self-care. At the end of the day, you take 5 to 20 minutes, depending on your routine, to just kind of massage your face, take some time to yourself. You're making sure you're hydrated, you're making sure you're not going to be itchy or anything, you're taking care of your acne, any other trouble spots, you're doing a mask. It genuinely is self-care. I miss the skincare culture. And number 10, my final thing that I miss about living in Korea is this kind of sense of normalcy that it brought me. There's this stigma in America that when someone is really interested in another culture, especially an Asian culture, it's immediately seen as a fetish or an obsession and something to not be proud of, or something weird and something uncool or unnatural, or oh, you're different, and it's seen in a negative way a lot of the times. But what I miss about Korea is being able to talk about music and being able to ask questions about the culture, and just being able to hear things about the history, and being able to tell people other things that I know just for conversational purposes. And they don't think it's weird. They don't see it as a weird obsession or you're fetishing their culture. So yeah, I just really miss that sense of normalcy in Korea, of being able to talk about their culture and have it be reciprocated, because they're also interested in my culture, or yeah, they're also really interested in their own history. They'll definitely have a conversation with me about Korean history. Yeah, that's just something I really miss. I'm Korean music conversation deprived. But that was it, guys. That was my top 10 things that I really miss about Korea. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've been to Korea, let me know what you miss a whole lot. If you want to go to Korea, let me know what you're really excited for, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.